All right, so the next episode is Not Normal from season 6, which is, you mentioned this in like a list of episodes for possible discussion, and I jumped on it right away because I will take any excuse to watch this episode again and talk about it. Why did you pick it, though?
Well, again, I feel like it's a very natural plot for the episode, and it's very relatable, because I think all of us as kids, especially us that liked video games and liked cartoons and stuff like that, we were always told in school, like, oh, you're not normal, and it's such a common thing to hear, though, but I don't think people realize just how impactful of a thing that is to hear in a negative way.
Absolutely.
It doesn't feel like, when you say it to somebody, it doesn't feel like it's that big of a deal, though, but when you hear it from somebody, it really is a big thing.
I think especially as a kid, like now, I will freely admit I am not normal. I am like not a normal person. I am weird and I do weird things and I'm a YouTuber and all of this. But when you're a kid, you don't think about it as a good thing. This episode kind of shows you that it's a good thing. It's a good thing. Don't be normal. Forget that, you know? Mm-hmm. What is normal? There is no normal.
Being too normal is weird. Like that's actually something that's shown off a lot in this, is that when he tries to be normal, he just comes off so weird, and it's unsettling to the point where you realize that, you shouldn't be normal. You shouldn't, try to do that. Because I remember as a kid, like, I got bullied so much, and I remember, like, I had to, like, hide my interests and, like, pretend to be some other person a lot of the time.
Oh, dude, I'm sorry.
No, I had to do that as a kid, and it's very relatable in this episode because, in a way, SpongeBob does that himself. It just gets out of control to the point where he doesn't even realize it himself, and it becomes automatic.
Yeah.
So it's something that resonates a lot with me and my childhood, in that now I don't care as much, though, but as a kid, it was a very big problem that you heard thrown around a lot.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it is ultimately, it is a be yourself episode, but it's not preachy. It doesn't like push. It's not like SpongeBob at the end is like, well, Patrick, I guess I learned today that I should just be me. There's none of that. The message is just there.
No, definitely.
Another thing I really like about the episode, aside from the message, is that it is an economic episode. There is like 12 seconds of SpongeBob annoying Squidward, and then bam, we're in the story. They don't fart around. They're not like, there's tons of episodes where it starts off with like a solid 2 minutes of SpongeBob and Patrick like screaming at the top of their lungs at boats or something, and then Squidward comes out and then the plot gets moving. But this one, it's like right in there.
It kind of makes me wish that other stuff around this era did the same thing, though, because a lot of, even in season 6, where the show is really awful, the show has great ideas for episodes. It just doesn't get started out of the gate fast enough for it to have enough time to like really be funny or interesting, because it's on rapid fire when there's so much fat that could be trimmed earlier in the episode.
Yeah.
And the thing is, even though Squidward is the antagonist of this episode, and he's I guess he's not the antagonist, he's the one who kickstarts the conflict of the episode, he's not, like, terrible or, like, really bad or anything like that. He's actually really great in this episode, just, like, how fast, like, things get going, how he is just trying to sleep and he gets woken up, how, we don't have to see a lot of the annoyance that SpongeBob gives him in this one. And his facial reaction to SpongeBob screaming like a banshee, that is one of my favorite Squidward faces ever, and it's just a moment of... You can totally relate to him being annoyed, and it doesn't really seem like forced or anything that he acts that way. He's just really funny.
I think you're absolutely right. You're onto something. Squidward's role in the episode is interesting because he isn't the but he isn't the antagonist. He's not bullying SpongeBob the entire episode, like, to be more normal, to do this, to do that. He says something to him at the start, and then Squidward kind of has an identity crisis of his own. You get the idea that Squidward doesn't even know what he's doing, and he's, like, thinking, because Squidward's weird. Like, you can't say that Squidward's not weird. He thinks he's normal and adult, but he's pretty dang weird.
He's very eccentric is what he is, and he realizes that he himself doesn't even know that, so it's like, he does kickstart the conflict, and he sort of is the antagonist, though, but the antagonist is really SpongeBob's own mind.
Yeah, it's society, but societal norms, even though, like, no one but SpongeBob and maybe Squidward is really pushing him into this. Society likes SpongeBob the way he is, but I mean, in like the real world meta text or whatever, it's societal definitions of what is normal is what the antagonist is.
Yeah.
And they make it funny. It's not normal as in real normal. It's normal as in, here's a cartoon character trying to excessively act normal.
The voice acting is something I wanted to bring up about this one. Tom Kenny does an awesome job just sounding like SpongeBob being normal, just the hi, how are ya, and just how calm he sounds, but he still sounds like SpongeBob. Squidward's yelling Squidward always has great yells, but it goes without saying that I'd like that here too.
SpongeBob's voice, I think, was like the first thing I mentioned in my review.
Yeah, you were saying that you kind of sort of wish that was his voice all the time though, because he gets progressively higher pitched like the further along you get in the series, and it does break a little bit.
They reeled it back in season 9, I think. But yeah, because I was just watching the SpongeBob SquarePants movie too for reasons of review. But
when is it coming out? You must hear it every day.
I do. They mellowed his voice out for that a little bit, like it's a little bit back to where it is, and I think they're trying to revert it in 8 and 9. But going from that to like SpongeBob at the start of the episode when he's just using his normal voice, his usual voice, his not normal. Oh gosh, you know what I'm saying? His the voice he uses all the other time, and then into his normal voice. It's like it's refreshing. I completely screwed
part of the problem.
I screwed this talking up. Yeah, you know what? I like normal SpongeBob. That's the lesson I got. Everyone should just be more normal. Come on, guys. No. But yeah, the point of that rambling is that it's a good voice.
There's the conflict itself like not being so easily resolved. That was interesting. Just being yourself is not an easy thing to do a lot of the time.
Yeah, and that's the economic nature of the episode, and that there really isn't any filler. It goes from okay, so bam, Squidward's out the door talking to SpongeBob. SpongeBob gets the idea to be normal. He watches a tutorial to how to be normal. He shows up at work and starts to become normal. There's a montage of him becoming more and more normal. He talks to Squidward, then he realizes he shouldn't be normal, and then him and Patrick work on it, and that doesn't work, and then surprise, there's another way he gets normal. That's a lot of story.
Mm-hmm. It's a lot to put in there, and it doesn't feel like it's on too rapid fire. And not only that, though, but the fact that you kind of have the conflict go both ways, where once SpongeBob is normal and understands what it is to be normal, he points out how weird Squidward is, and like the whole like you aren't wearing any pants, like that part.
Yes.
He shows like all the weird things about Squidward, like how it's very not normal to have 400 self-portraits of yourself that you painted hanging in your own home. And he just points out how weird of a guy Squidward is, and Squidward gets to know how that feels to be told that. Mm-hmm. And he himself goes through the same thing that SpongeBob does.
Mm-hmm. The not wearing any pants joke is like so funny.
It's something that took so long to point out.
Yeah, and not just that, but that, and then SpongeBob immediately gets kicked out. That's what makes it so funny.
That Squidward is more annoyed with him when he's being normal than when he's being SpongeBob.
Well, but I think it does serve the purpose of showing that even the quote-unquote normal people, or the people that think they're normal, they're not. There is no normal. No one is totally normal, No. I think that's kind of the clever layer that they put in there, I think.
You might think that you're normal for 20 years of your life, and then surprise, you're a fairy type, but sorry.
I thought you were going to say surprise, you're not wearing any pants.
No, that too. I mean, I can't think of any fairy type that wears pants. Like, I think the only pants wearing
Mr.
Pokemon
Mime?
is Lurantis. No, Mr. Mime doesn't wear pants. I was thinking Lurantis. That has, like, clown pants on them, but we're getting sidetracked.
Oh, come on. You had to mention Pokemon at least once.
Oh, yeah. If I don't, it goes to my thighs, and then I blow up, but...
So we can agree that it's a very well-paced episode. It's a good story. It's very relatable, has a subtle message. What other humor in the episode did you like outside of the Squidward's pants thing?
That's the big one that really comes to mind. I said already that I like the voice acting. Squidward's yelling is fantastic, which I already said. There's not really anything else that really comes to mind as like a big, funny moment that I really enjoy. Those were the big ones.
What about the mom and her kid? Who are they, Mom? Those are undesirables. We don't talk to them. Like, just the way they say that, like, wow. And then I always get a chuckle at SpongeBob saying that he has to go defragment his hard drive.
Oh, yes. Yeah. It's a type of humor you don't often hear on the show.
Because it's like, why? Like, well, you don't even see computers that much on the show unless they're Karen. But it's just kind of like this weird, mundane, like... Yeah, just odd. Much in line with season 6. It definitely isn't the funniest of episodes, but I think the laughs it has are really powerful. And on top of all that, I like the quote. I like the, hi, how are you? I say that sometimes to people. I do. No one gets it, But the only things that I have to say negatively about it, and me being me, I kind of have to, is that it does kind of suffer from some of the stuff that season 6 suffers from in general, like the veins. I have this thing where season 6, just so many pulsating veins, and in this episode it happens I think twice or 3 times, and they're drawn so grotesquely, and there's no point, there's no reason for it to be that gross looking.
It's not like the characters are straining like that hard to do what they're doing. It's like if you're expecting someone to like lift an anchor or something like that, then I guess I could understand it though. But
the eyeball veins, ugh, those gross me out. But no, but on a more pressing issue, you tell me if you notice this, but there seems to be a bad, I don't want to say, how do I even describe this? I don't want to say it's a bad frame rate, although that's terminology you might understand.
Oh, excuse me, I won't understand your extremely complicated animation critic terms.
Well, oh yes, quite. Actually, I do want to say that it's a frame thing. Like early in the episode when SpongeBob and Squidward are talking, SpongeBob's reactions don't have that many frames in the animation. It kind of looks like he snaps into place a little bit.
Oh, when he's screaming like a banshee and his facial expression doesn't change at all?
Not that one. There's other things. It's very subtle, and I maybe this is a nitpick, but I've watched season 6 enough to see that there's times that like the animation just doesn't. I don't know. It's not that impressive. It kind of feels like there should be more in between frames.
It's not as bad as other cases of it, though, because I know of specific episodes where the animation is, like, clearly phoned in and very, like, had a lot of shortcuts taken.
The one with Patrick's monster, that one strikes me as it. There's a few things in that episode.
There's Patrick playing the belly drum.
Yes, that's not looped very well. But anyway, I noticed that at a few points here, and it's sad because it's like, I like this episode. I don't want this to have that problem. But, I think it's more noticeable, honestly, after, being spoiled on season 9, because god dang, does season 9 just look very good.
Oh, it does. You and I disagreed a bit on extreme spots where I said I loved the episode, but that actually also leads into the next topic quite nicely.
It does, if you're ready to move on.